Lama dangon
Nangong
po
po
je
jampe
zun
yang
jampe
ja
yan la cha
la
tse lu kangi
Kangi
lo
lo tre
je
tre
jin
ngi
ye
tren
jin
da
ja
ngi
ni
da
ta
nan
nam
da.
da rab za we jin ye dong gu ji jin si chi ni ki tu ka le pam zi kan da zi pe zhe zha ma ji mun zong lu nga ji si we 如足供养不及大自因拉住住养的主大人切住牛摩尼罗勒基查住住自己马里门子杜阿牛古吉涅就在查吉那 Dönne dağji sacı tarzı yönte luzo cazı tuğku Çucak çudan cüni yence dağlı munse campe yanlatı Omara pazana di 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 Omara pazana di 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 Omara Patsana Omara Patsana di Chedin Cheki Chedra Buzegi Dalu Timu Mun Barabzalne Kadan Tenju Shulu Topai Luje Pope Nawa Tatu Su Kanze Tawa De Bam Chunze Jiwa De Nayang Ombo Jam Jan Jeni Ni Gelme Paryang Towar Shu. Okay, so I guess our main homework was to memorize the vocabulary. So just I'll just ask, I'll just go around once and ask one letter to each just to check how that's going, okay? So, Zend, what is this one?
Za.
Za, yeah, Za. And James, what is this one?
Ah,
Yeah, yeah, very good. And Kip, what about this one?
That is saw.
Yeah, Sa, a little bit
Sa.
higher, like Sa.
Saw.
Do you remember what this means?
No. Oh, that means
This,
actually it means ground.
yeah, exactly. It's also Sa as in the 10 bhumis. The 10 bhumis in Tibetan is called Sachu. Chu means 10. So you see this sometimes in prayers, Sachu. And Satya, I don't know if you've watched the recordings or not, but
I've watched all the recordings, yeah.
Oh, good. Then
And
that's you also.
I memorized the whole chart,
Wow, very nice.
so I'm ready to be quizzed.
Cool. What is this one?
Ra.
Ra. Yeah, very good. Okay, very good. Wow, you guys are sharp. I'm very happy. Did you guys watch those resources I sent about how I sent one video where it combines the vowels with each one of the letters?
Yes.
Yeah.
that both helped and
Mhm.
extremely challenged me because unfortunately I had like for some reason when I first learned it was Wiley, right? Like the Wiley sounds.
Yeah.
And then I was not doing well trying to
Because of the
match up the sounds
pronunciation?
and the letters. Yeah.
Oh, I see, I see.
I'm
I
getting
mean
better.
that takes some time, you know. I also
I got the
yeah, it took
recognition
me
down. So
yeah. As long as you for now you guys have recognized all the letters, then eventually everything will fit together now. So I finished our textbook so far as Now, if we go through this whole thing, we can read, we can make the sounds of Tibetan. So now, from now on, we will, as long as this is solid, then we can build upon this now. So today, we're going to go over head letters and possibly a little bit more if we have time. So if there's any questions at any point, please do just ask me. So like we said last time at the end of the class, there are 3 head letters. It wouldn't be now to memorize what they are now, but honestly, after you learn how to read, you naturally know them. Like if there's something unusual happening, you automatically recognize it. You know, the more we read, the more we become familiar with the letter combinations. So in some textbooks, what they do is they go over all the different letter combinations. Like for example, Ra, La, and Sa only go over some of these letters. They don't just go on anyone. So it tells you, okay, Ra goes over these ones, La goes only over these ones. But I feel like, to be honest, I don't think that's necessary because we're not going to be writing. We're just mainly going to be reading. But I just want you to know that that exists. I think it's much easier to memorize simply these 3 letters and know that they will be on the top. And then that they all follow the same rule of pronunciation. Then everything becomes more concise. So these 3, then they all follow the same rule of pronunciation, basically, which is they go high. That's it. If the letter is high, then it cannot go higher, so it stays as it is. You can think head letter up, you know, it just makes the sound go high, the tone go high. So head letters, actually, they never go on this column, so we don't have to worry about this. And then on this one is already high, so nothing to worry about. The sound will remain the same. And for these ones, the sound becomes basically the same sound as it would be like a normal G sound, like in God, for example. So by itself is ga, ga, a little bit low, a little bit aspirated and low, ga. But when there is a head letter here, it becomes ga, ga. Just a normal English G sound, ga. And then for this row, which is a little bit low, it just goes high. So whenever there is a head letter, like we mentioned, nga is I, nga means 5. I think that's the example down here. Yeah. So if there is a la on the top of nga, then it means number 5. And then last class, I think we also mentioned if I think Federico asked if there is what is the point of having different letters if they all sound the same? And the point is that it changes the meaning of the word. So if this was a ra on the top, by the way, when you guys add this ra, the ra gets cut in half. I don't know if you guys have noticed here, like this is a normal na. So when we put the ra on the top, we cut it in half here. And then it gets stuck on the top. But the other 2 letters, they stay whole. Something else to notice also is that when we stick the letters together, they shrink because they need to match the other letter. Otherwise, we would have really long and really short letters. So in order for them to match the size of the script, maybe I'll show you guys some examples on the text. Oh, hi, Liz. I mean, Claire. Okay. So let me just share the screen. Can you guys see this text, the purple text? Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just gonna go to a random page. So here you guys can see how this shrank. So this is a normal size sa. So then when it becomes a head letter, it shrinks. So again, a normal one. Again, this is also a head letter, sa head letter, so it shrinks. So this is a triple stack. So we also have triple stacks. So again, it shrinks. Size smaller than this normal size. The pa also has shrunk compared to a normal pa. And then this is a ra attached on the bottom. So just so you know, there's also triple stacks.
Can you go back to
In
the
this,
first one that you showed, the sa?
this one?
Yeah. So is that a ka below it?
Yeah, exactly. So this
But
is
what's
also a triple stack.
all the fancy other stuff?
Yeah. So this is a sa head, a ka. No, this is so the main letter here is ka, and then this thing here actually is a ya attached on the bottom. So we're gonna get to the letters that are attached on the bottom, but basically here, actually I use this example of the to think. I was recommending us to think in terms of each syllable being like a mandala. Can you guys see this text now?
Yes.
Yeah. So actually I made a cool drawing here. Not a drawing, I added a picture. So we can think of each letter as a mandala and each one of the attachments on the four directions. So I also made this chart. Basically, it's telling us the root letter and the different letters that can be attached to each direction. And the only difference is that here on the, let's say the east side, there's two things that can be attached. So there could be a secondary suffix which is sa. So we're gonna go over this, but just so you know, this chart is here, so you can refer to it later.
Can you repeat again about the head letter ra ra?
Mhm.
You said it. I think it was the ra that cuts in half
Oh yeah,
the
yes.
the root consonant.
Yeah, so here, this is the example here. So you can see how the ra has been cut in half. Basically, you cut here, and then you attach the top there. So let's take a look. Let me share the screen on the other text because there's more examples there.
So you actually cut off the bottom of the ra.
Yeah, exactly. Let me, oops, sorry. Let me share the screen here again. So this is right here. Can you guys see the purple text?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is a ra. This is a ra head letter right here.
I see.
Yeah. So it's been cut in half. So whenever you see this, that means there is a ra on the top. Let me
Thank
see
you.
if I can find more examples. The ra is never the ra is actually never pronounced, except on very I mean, there's one big exception which is for dorje. Let me see if I'll type it. Um, Let me type it for you guys so you guys can see. I'm gonna share the screen again. So these days I've been typing. So this is my typing. Actually, so anyways, for example, if we were to type dorje, so this is dorje. So do, the first, we recognize the bottom letters, right? Da and ja. So we know that the naro makes it o, so this would be do, and the jembu makes it e, so this is j. So according to the rules I just shared, because I said that the ra on the top is mute, it doesn't make any sound, this would be doje, right? So this is one exception where actually this ra on the second syllable does keep the sound. So this is how we spell dorje. Okay. You guys can take note because this word is all over the place, right? Dorje this, dorje that. So you will encounter this. This is the only exception, the only big exception I can think of where the ra is actually pronounced as a head letter, and it's quite a popular word. So yeah, just so you know, this exists. By the way, after we finish all this, I want to teach you guys how to type and how to use the dictionary also. So is that clear so far? Yeah, are there any questions? Good. So let's go back to our textbook. Okay, so here's a couple of examples. So na, low pitch, means to be sick. Na means ear. And just another note here, na means ear in classical Tibetan. They would say nawa, nawa. But in colloquial Tibetan, they usually say amchok. That's a more like colloquial word. So colloquial and classical Tibetan match sometimes, but they don't always match, unfortunately. So yeah, and also it's really a little bit annoying. For example, if we read the Heart Sutra, it says no eyes, no ears, no nose. So now with another head letter also means nose. So it's the same sound, and you just have to get it by the spelling. I think that's why in colloquial they changed the word one out of one of them. So just so you know, that's why also it's important the spellings are so important. So na, low tone, is to be sick, and this na also is all over the text, meaning it can mean if, and it can also mean in or at or on, like a location, marking the location of a place. But in generally, it means if, usually. I know this may sound unusual that this word has those two meanings, but if we think about it, it's not that unusual. Like, for example, if I'm telling you, if I'm speaking English and I say, oh, when I go to the store, or oh, if I go to the store, in a way, because its future is uncertain. So we will learn in Tibetan that, for example, there is some verbs have volition and some don't have volition. So for the future tense verbs, there's never volition because the future is uncertain. So I thought this is a kind of interesting point. But anyways,
The
I'm getting
tone
off
is the
topic.
same though.
Excuse me.
The
Oh,
tone
the
is the
tone
same.
for these two, yeah. Every time there's a head letter, it's always gonna be the same.
No, I meant like for to be sick and if.
Oh yeah, it's exactly the same. Right, the way it's written is the same. So yeah, the sound is exactly the same. Na, na. And then another example is go. Go means to hear. Go. It can also mean to understand sometimes. If we add goa, it can also mean to understand or to hear. And then go means door. So this is a sa and a ga. So I'll just briefly go on over how, just so you guys know, I'm not gonna spend time on this because I don't think it's really useful to know perfectly for in our situation. But just so you guys know, the way you would spell this is this one is la ngatak. Tak means you're attaching it to the bottom. So you're saying la, ngatak, nga. So this is called jorlok in Tibetan. If you ever need to spell something, for example, like we said before, la is with a head letter la, it means 5, and if there was a ra on the top, it would mean drum. So then if you need to spell it, you would say la, ngatak, nga, or ra, ngatak, nga. So that's how you would spell this. This would be ra, natak, na, because there's a ra on the top. Ra, natak, na. And this one would be sa, gatak, and ga, naro, go. So it's cumulative. The spelling is cumulative, meaning you have to, you say this plus this is this, and then this new one plus this new one is that. So I have to say sa, katak, ga. That's what I have so far. Naro, go. So if the spelling is long, it's a little bit, especially when, because Tibetans have been spelling since they're really, really young. Sometimes their spelling is really intense. They're like, and then you're like, okay, you have to do it, you have to visualize it quick, you know, but they usually spell really, really fast, especially if they're debating, or you might hear if there's a confusion in somebody's translating, the Lama will spell out loud like this, and they usually do it really quick. But for our sake, just know that this spelling out loud exists. I'm not gonna spend much time on it. Okay, is that clear so far? So this is a little example of how words that have the different attached letters, even though they sound the same, they mean something different. So go means to hear, like as up here. This go we just saw, it means door, and this go sounds exactly the same as this one, but this one means head. And these three words are used in both classical and colloquial. So this is good vocabulary to keep in mind. So go means head, and go also means door. The sound is exactly the same. There's no distinction. For example, in Tibetan, if you have a headache, you say go nakidu this na. Go nakidu. Means I have a headache. Na means sick, but in Tibetan also it can also mean that it can also mean ache. So go nakidu is like I have a headache in Tibetan. So that's that. Then yeah, we will have other examples soon. Like this sounds the same basically. Go. It means to start, and good. And the key here is that the key here to know is that the sound is the same in many cases, and it changes the meaning. Keep that in mind. Don't worry about these words so much for now. Exceptions into all the rules. The exception here is when la is on top of ha. So in this case, the sound changes. It's pronounced hla. It's almost like the H, the aspiration comes before the la. In a way, it's like they're flipped, right? Because lha, it should be lha. But when you hear that the Tibetans speak, it sounds more like the aspiration is coming before, like hla, hla, hla. And ha means God, and Lhasa is the capital of Tibet, but Can somebody tell me, how about Federico? What do you think Lhasa means? No, is
Well,
the
the sa we know is something like a ground or maybe a place. So the ground or place of gods, I guess, or something
yeah,
like this.
exactly. It's the land of the gods, you know. Lhasa means the land of the gods. Maybe like a little bit like Los Angeles, you can think of, I guess. So yeah, so all these words actually have meaning. Tibetan is for the most part a monosyllabic language, meaning that most words have only one syllable. But when they're combined, they get these two meanings, uh, these two individual meanings, when combined, somehow they take an extra meaning. The meanings become enhance each other, you know. It's really cool. Actually, I love this about Tibetan. It makes the language so powerful. That's why it's so difficult to translate sometimes. So yep, that's Lhasa. That's the land of the gods. Okay, so that's it. That's it for head letters. I hope that's clear. Since we have plenty of time, we'll keep going now. So prefixes, we have 5 prefixes. So these are the 5 prefixes, and the rule is the same, basically. The prefixes don't make any sound by themselves. They don't alter the root letter, but they just basically turn the low pitch letters, they make them go high. So same thing, nothing new. Easy peasy. Here's a couple of examples again. Go again means to hear. Go. Go. This is head, like we said before. So again, the sound remains the same, like we were saying here. If it's before, the sound is the same. If it's on top, the sound is the same. Here we can see the example with go. Go meaning head, go meaning door. Same sound, different spellings, different meanings. You can think of it now, okay, if the letter is on top or if it's before, the sound is just go higher. And if the sound is high, then it cannot go higher, so that's it. If you just memorize like that, then it's easy. And if it's high, it means it's on this column. All the other ones will go, these other ones will be low, so they have to go up. And yeah, that's it. Okay, so we have a couple more examples. Ja. Ja means tea. Juk. We haven't covered these letters, but we haven't covered the suffixes, but juk means to enter. We can just worry about this part for now. We're gonna get to the suffixes shortly. So da means now, and then dak means self. I'm sorry. Maybe I should fix this example because I shouldn't be adding these letters yet. But just focus on this sound. So basically, this da sound becomes da, like a normal English da, a normal English d sound, if there is a prefix. Okay, that's it. That's it. Now our exception. This is a really big exception, like big in the sense that this word is all over the place too. When da comes before ba, the sound ba becomes wa. And the most popular example is wang. I'm sure you guys must know this word. Even we use it in English a lot of the times, at least here. Oh, are you going to the wang? You know, are you going to the empowerment? Wang means empowerment. It also means, well, it's the same meaning, I guess. Wang Po is powerful. Like there's a very popular woman's name, Wang Mo. Maybe you guys have heard that name. Wang Mo means like powerful woman or like the powerful feminine. Yeah. So this is Wang. So this is the you can memorize this rule by using Wang. Oh, and then another instance where the ba is pronounced as wa is when the second syllable is the second syllable of a word. So this is not directly related to the prefix, but this is just a general note about when a lot of the times this ba becomes wa sound. So the example here is joa. And we're gonna cover this rule, but for now, just know that this is pronounced jo. I know this is very weird because there's no D there, but we're gonna get there. So jo is it is probably one of the most popular verbs in Tibetan. That's why I chose this one. Jo means to go. I mean, just like in any language, to go. So jo by itself is a verb, but if you add this wa, then it becomes an English ER. So it becomes a goer. So whenever you see this ba attached, the sound becomes wa, and then it turns into an ER. And it can also turn into an infinitive. So we would have to get that from the context. So if I say this joa, jo means to go. Joa can mean a goer, but it can also mean to go, the infinitive of the verb. But we would never see to go. We would only see to go. The meaning of to go will only appear in grammar books. It will not be in the text. In the text, it will 95%, 99% of the time is going to mean maybe not that much. Maybe 80% of the time um it will mean goer. And this is a synonym of a sentient being. So in the text, for example, do we say this prayer to dedication prayers? Sonam digitam chesi panitam nene pedo nama chinichikana jivana tupai sipet sole jowa shok. That's the word is there. Jowa shok. May I liberate all sentient beings? So this jowa, because beings are wandering in samsara, they're called wanderers or goers. That's the meaning. Is that clear so far? Yeah. Please interrupt me if there is a question or if I'm going too fast. Okay. But I feel like this is pretty straightforward. Anyway, so wang, and then if the wa comes as a second syllable, it's also pronounced wa. Wa, wa. Exception. This is a half exception. This is not a full exception. This is number 2. So if there is an a or a ma as a prefix, it adds a prenasal sound in the beginning of the word. So this really depends on, people will pronounce it differently. So yeah, just so you know, sometimes when people say I took ocean, jamso, I think this depends on the accent of the person. Sometimes it's pronounced Jatso, like His Holiness Dalai Lama's name, Tenzin Gyatso. But sometimes, for example, maybe you guys have heard, Kempo Tsultim Jamso. They say Jamso, Jamso, Tsultim Jamso. So they're pronouncing this as a prenasal ma, Jamso. So these two and ma can add this prenasal sound. For example, Mingyur Rinpoche, you guys know Mingyur Rinpoche? There's no, that's an ow, that's this prenasal, Mingyur. So yeah, sometimes this will happen. Just something to keep in mind. And another example here is this word menda. So menda means gun or rifle, pronounced menda. But me by itself, this means fire. And da means arrow. So literally I wrote here, it means a fire arrow. So the Tibetan word for gun or for rifle is a fire arrow. So this would be pronounced, this should be pronounced meda, right? But because this is an example of where this prenasal exists. And the reason I'm calling it a prenasal rather than calling it a particular sound is because the sound depends, the prenasal sound depends on the previous letter. So this is also happening in Sanskrit. This comes from Sanskrit, I guess. Because like we learned here, so these sounds here, these are called glottarals, right? So because the sound is already happening, so because the sound is already happening here, naturally we want to make, if this is, we're prenatally in gha, unga, like kunga, like even in English, ring a bell, ring a bell. Actually, we should pronounce ring bell. If we were pronouncing it like we're using the English letter pronunciation, but nobody says that. We say, oh, ring a bell, because the anatomy of the mouth naturally wants to make the glottal sound because it's already making it from there. So it's the same here with ja. Ja is in nya. These two are connected because they're called palatals. So if we're prenasal in this, the prenasal will be nya. So that's why this chart is also useful to think of it in terms of how to make the sounds. Ja, ja. If there was a prenasal to this, then it would be ja. Then the prenasal of da is na, because you would say nda. You're already on the teeth. These are dentals. Nda, like menda, like our example we just had. Menda, nda, nda. And then for labial, the prenasal would be because we're on the lips. Mba, mba, mba. Actually, in Spanish, we also have this rule. Whenever there is a B, there can only be an M before it. Because that's just where the sound, that's the way the sound wants to naturally be made by the mouth. And this is also the same in Sanskrit, when they have a little dot on the top in Sanskrit, like sangha, sangha. That's actually a little dot in the Sanskrit. I think there is no N. They don't write an N in Sanskrit. They put a dot and they have a G. So that dot is the prenasal. So it's sangha. And because this is a ga sound, ga, then the prenasal is this nga. So sangha. So it's just the nature of the human anatomy on the mouth. So I just clipped this little part and I pasted it here, just so you guys know where the prenasal sounds come from. That's what this is. Okay. Wow, we're blazing through. Is that clear so far? Yep, no questions. How are you doing, James?
Yeah, I don't want to. You would pretty much have to start from the beginning all over
Mhm.
to answer my questions. So that's why I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate recording, and I'll watch it again, and
Mhm.
I might email
But
you.
what you can ask me now, because I feel we covered two aspects of letters, so we have a little bit of time. Actually, these two.
Yeah, I think if you could,
Mhm. Go ahead.
I was just thinking if you wanted to go over the prefixes again, that might work well for me.
Yeah.
But
Sure. Basically, in terms of pronunciation, the rules are the same for both. So we can actually put them in the same category. The sound just goes high. If it's high, it stays high. If the tone is low, then it goes up. So both head letters and prefixes have the same rule. There is these three prefixes, and I'm sorry, three head letters and 5 prefixes. Only these 3 and 5 can be in those positions, which actually I made this chart. I'm very happy about my chart, by the way. Here, head letters and prefixes. So only these 3 and these 5 can be attached to the root. And they affect the sound the same way. And that's it. I mean, there's not much to it. I think this is pretty straightforward. Is that clear? You can just think. You guys can just think. Refer to this chart and think in terms of this.
Yeah,
These ones will.
Yeah, I was going to say, so I am pretty confused, I will say. So with the prefixes and head letters, they impact the pronunciation and they impact the spelling as Tibetan is written, and and because of that, they impact what the meaning is.
Yes.
Correct?
So
Okay.
even though the sound might be the same, the meaning will change based on the spelling.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the thing to keep in mind also. Here is the main example that there's where is our example? Here's this is a good example. So go means to hear. The sound is different. These two are pronounced the same, go and go. But because this one has a prefix, it means head. Because this one has a sa head letter, it means door. They're both pronounced go. So I think looking at this chart, it makes it a little bit easier, I think. So the root will be here. We have 3 heads and 5 pre. So if one will attach to the root, either one of these will attach, then it will change the meaning. Either one of these will attach. Maybe only one will attach, maybe both will attach. Still the sound will remain the same. For now, we're not really worrying about meaning. The main focus for now is just to learn how to put the letters together in our brain to know how to make the sounds.
Okay.
Yep. Is that clear so far? Yeah.
Yes.
How are you doing, Claire? Is that clear?
Yeah, good.
Good.
This chart is helpful.
Yeah. This chart is good. Okay. Sounds good then. Then in that case, I'll keep going, guys. Because the next two are a little bit more tricky. So subjoin letters means the letters that go underneath. there is 5. Really, you can think of it in terms of there only being 3, actually. These 2 are kind of unusual. They're not so common, but they will appear. But you can think of it in terms of being 3, and sometimes these 2 will be added. But 3 main ones, you can think of it that way. So I took La because La is the easiest one to, the easiest rule, I guess. So whenever there is a subjoined La, whenever there is a La on the bottom, it just becomes a high-pitched La. That's it. Whenever we have La in the bottom, it becomes a high-pitched La. So that's the La for Lama, for example. This is how we write Lama. Ba, Latak, La, Lama. And this means easy. Lapo, sa, latak, la, pa, naropo, lapo.
I have a question here.
Yeah.
Well, in the first case, you could immediately reason that it's a subjoined la rather than a head letter pa, because pa is not among the 3 letters that could be head letters. But in the second case, it's not so easy. Sa could be a head letter to la. So there's an ambiguity. It could be la with the head letter of sa, or sa with the subjoined letter la.
Yes, that's true. Sometimes it's a little bit ambiguous. However, in this case, it's not difficult because the rule doesn't affect the sound. Because the sa will be mute.
Oh.
So
okay.
yeah.
I see. Yeah.
So
okay. So it doesn't matter in a sense.
It doesn't
right?
matter, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a good observation, yeah. That's a good observation. So that's how you would determine exactly the process that, by this process of elimination, like Federico just did, basically that's how we will figure out how to pronounce the words in the beginning, you know. As we practice reading, it will just become natural. We'll just see and we'll pronounce them automatically like we do in English. Actually, English is very weird to pronounce for a non-native English speaker. Basically, there's no rules. You just have to look at the word and somehow magically you're supposed to know how to make the sound. Tibetan is not like that. Tibetan, I can take a Tibetan book out of full with words that I have no idea what they mean, and I can pronounce them more or less accurately following these rules. So if you can read English, then reading Tibetan is very much easier, you know. There are rules and they are followed. In Spanish also they follow the rules. I don't know about other languages. I think in German also they follow them. French doesn't follow them, right? So it depends on the language also.
So
a lot of-
actually, I have a
Mhm.
question on this. So on that law, so it says once joined to a root letter becomes a high pitched law sound. Is that the law itself that becomes high pitched, or you're saying that the root letter itself is somehow converted into a law sound?
Yeah, in this case, we can. I mean, I think of the last becoming the root in a way because it's the root letter that is pronounced, and the la in our chart is not a high pitched la. Where are the pitch? Yeah, so here it's labeled as a mid-tone la. So that's why la, because la. This becomes basically the rule is this: whenever you see a la on the bottom, you just say la, high pitched. That's the thing to memorize here. Whenever you see a la underneath, no matter what on top, you just say la.
Thank you.
Just memorize it like that. Yeah, so I'm simplifying all the rules because I think personally this is the essential to pronounce, There's like a ton of combinations, and I could talk about the la for 3 classes, but just memorize. Whenever you see a la underneath, no matter what's on top, you just say la. Except we have a really one rather nasty exception actually, because this is really weird. I really don't know why this rule exists. So if there is a la underneath sa, the sound becomes da. So this is yeah, I know this doesn't make any sense, but yeah, that's the way it is. This is the exception for this la. Okay. I apologize for that, guys, but what to do? And this is a very popular word, dawa, which means moon. We say if the bha is in the second syllable, it becomes wa. So dawa. You guys, I'm sure you must have heard this word. There's so many people's names is dawa. Actually, the meaning of da, etymologically speaking, by itself, it means a reflection of or a copy of. So dawa is the reflection of the sun. So that's why it means. For example, kunda ku means like ku means body, like a holy body. It's like respectful word for body. So kunda means partner, and you can maybe hear I'm saying kunda. I'm not saying kuda, because in theory this should be a nda. This is not just da; it's a prenasal nda. But you can only hear it sometimes. That's why I put da and sometimes nda. So this is a really unusual situation, but just know that this is our exception for the la. Otherwise, every time you see a la underneath, it will be like that. Okay, so that's good. That's clear so far, I hope. And now let me share other text. I just want us to look at some actual text, just because for example, I really actually I know we don't have that much time, but I think that this one is so easy. Before I keep going with the before I keep going with these subjoined letters, because these other ones will have kind of like a couple of weird rules coming up. I just want to go over the suffix, because this is generally is easy. I'll just go over the easy ones. So there's 10 suffixes and 6 are easy. Okay. Basically, you just drop the vowel sound of the second letter. That's it. So if there's 2, this is la and this is ga. Whenever we have a suffix, it becomes lak. Lak. La and ma become lam. Yeah, I think that one is also pretty straightforward. I think there's no, for these ones, I'm gonna go over the rules later, but whenever you see two letters together, basically the second one will drop the vowel sound. Lak means hand, lakpa. Lam means path, like lam rim. Rim also is another way we can write it. So ra giku. Even if we cannot write it and we're just talking, oh ra giku ri ma rim. That's how we would spell it. Lama lam ra giku ri ma rim. Lam rim. You guys know lam rim? You've heard that term before? Yeah. The stages of the path. Gradual path. Rim is gradual. Rimpa actually. Lam rim. So we don't have a lot of time left, but we can maybe share something here. So this is yang. Yang. Yeah, actually, this is a sa natak. So this would be pronounced na. Na, high pitched na, because there is that sa on the top. Let's see. Claire, how would you pronounce this? You want to try out?
Shock.
Shock, exactly. Shock. Very good. Satya, how would you pronounce this?
I'm not sure.
So this is, can you identify them individually? What is this by itself?
That is an ah.
Almost. It is yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And this one individually, do you remember?
Na, na, na,
No, yeah.
na.
So the rule is when there's two letters, the second one drops the vowel. So this would be yang.
Young,
Yeah, yang.
young,
So you pronounce
young.
basically this is ya and this is nga. So when they come together, the second one drops the vowel. Yang.
Mhm.
Yeah. Is that let's try one more, okay? Well, what do you think happens here? What is the first one by itself?
That's a ta.
Yeah. And the second one?
It's slipping my mind right now.
Yeah, it's okay. So I'll give you I'll tell you where it is. So the second one is ma.
Ma, so it'd be
So we
dam.
dam, exactly. Very good. Excellent. Now you got it now. So this is why it's so important to have immediate recognition of the letters, Yeah, so keep memorizing the vocabulary. Keep memorizing the vocabulary to get it quick. And we covered a lot of ground today, but I think you guys are getting it. I think we're rocking. So we're out of time, guys. If there's any questions, if the question is urgent, I will stay and we can talk. If the question is not urgent, then you can email me or we can talk about it next class. Okay? I'll say our dedication prayer and then I'll stay and I'll stop the recording actually also.